What is going on, everybody? Combo here, and as you read by the title, today I'll be giving you 5 quick Sentinel tips to make you a Sentinel god. Sentinel as a gun almost feels like a little mini Kraber to me, and they actually share a lot of similarities, so stick around if you guys want to hear some interesting tips. As always, if you did know the tips, you know, good for you, congratulations, but hopefully you guys learned something new. Not gonna hold you too long, let's get right into it. Number one, and one of the more important things, especially with all snipers, is the bullet drop of the Sentinel and how to correctly predict for it. So with the Sentinel, unlike most snipers, it has a very, very minimal bullet drop, almost to the point where, unless you're 300 meters plus, I wouldn't even try to aim much higher than maybe the tip of the head. So, right here, I would say we're about 70, 80 meters out. As you can see right here, we can aim directly for the head, easy headshot. Right here, I'd say this is about 150. Watch this, I'm not going to aim at all, I'm going to aim directly center. As you can see, that bullet is going to hit right in the middle of the target every single time. So, let's go a little bit further back. And because the bullet drop on the Sentinel is so small, the bullet speed of it is also equal to that drop. So as you can see here, the Sentinel has very fast bullet speed, as I don't even have to lead a shot from here. So we're going to go straight at it, direct hit, direct hit. Now if we do let it go a little bit too off, you know, as you see there, that was very close. If we do let it get a little bit off, you can miss shots, but as you can see there, it still almost feels hit scan. If we're going 300 meters plus right here, you're not going to be able to aim directly at it, like that. You are going to have to aim slightly up, like about here. But as you can see even there, the bullet drop in the Sentinel is not very bad at all. Number 2 actually pertains to what sights to be using on the Sentinel, and I'll be going over my favorite 3. Starting with the first one, which is no sight. I love the iron sights in the Sentinel, and there's a reason for this. When using the Sentinel, especially I'd say 130 to 100 meters in, having no zoom on a sight, especially one this narrow, makes getting shots at this range much better. It's better than the Scout, as the damage is more consistent, as when I'm about 100 meters out, I don't really aim for body shots, but let's say I'm, you know, approaching the outside of flatline territory, R301 territory, it is very easy to go for headshots with the Sentinel. As you can see here, you know, this is I'd say right about here is you're starting to approach the end of auto rifle consistency. You can go for headshots pretty easily with this thing, and I understand these bots are standing still, but let's say that's the center over there, this one moving. The Sentinel, because of the bullet drop, makes it very easy to go for headshots. Now the next sight we have here is the 2x HCOG, which is similar to the iron sights of the Sentinel, except just a little bit more zoomed in. As you can see here, same thing with the close range headshots, but it does make longer shots, such as this, a slight bit easier to hit, and it shares a lot of similarities to the iron sights. Now finally, and if you've ever picked up a gold Sentinel, you have used the 4 to 10 times. This sight is very bad for close range, maybe 150 meters I'd say is the optimal for 4 times. This can be used, not my favorite for close, but where this really, really gets good is at the longer ranges. So, if you look at the sight, you see the 2 and the 5 there. That pertains to 200 meters and 500 meters. They also have small little lines in the middle telling you where you should put in the sight to hit longer range shots. So, by that logic, what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in 10 times. You can see more numbers there. So this is 375 meters. So we're going to aim this right in the middle of the 3 and the 4. And as you see there, our shot will hit. Now let's say we wanted to get crazy. This right here is 750 meters. If we imagine those things keep going, so right about here, missed that one, a little bit too high, so we're gonna go here, right in the middle, so now we can go here. You can see right there, you can actually hit shots from almost 700 meters out with this thing. Like I said, unless you're going for a clip, not super practical, but as you can see, it can certainly be done. Number 3 actually deals with the chargeability of the Sentinel, when to be using it, and when it's really worth it. So, as you know, pressing right on the D-pad or whatever it is for PC gives the Sentinel the ability to charge it up with a shield battery, not a cell mind you, and gives it bonus damage to shields. Now, by bonus damage, I mean you can break anyone's shield, including Evos, shooting them anywhere on the body. So right here, we're going to shoot this dude in the leg. 100 damage, the shield's broken. Now we're going to shoot him in the body. 63, and of course headshots still do 140. Something to note with this though, when shooting somebody in the head, if you have Disruptor, it does not penetrate extra damage. You are still only going to do 140 to the head. Anyways though, back into when you should really be using this. Personally, I don't believe you should be using this until you're about 10 squads left, maybe even less, because early game, I would say shield batteries are of very high value to you, and you really don't want to be wasting them, especially if somebody has, you know, a white shield or even a blue shield. I do not think it's worth to use Disruptor on. Maybe if you find somebody with a purple shield early game, you can do this, but I just don't think it's worth it. When you're getting into late game, as you know, most people will have purple, even red shields by then, especially red shield now because of the recent Evo buff, and it can be very annoying at times. Having the ability to stock up on these shield batteries and break their shield in one shot can be very good, especially, and this is for people who may have seen my P20 video alright, there is a combo you can do with the P2020 with Hammer Point and the Sentinel to get some very quick kills on people. So, we're going to shoot our last Disruptor shots off right here. We're going to kill this guy. Now what we're going to do is we're going to charge our Sentinel, and I'm going to show you a very cheesy kill combo you can do. So right here, we're going to shoot him, switch over to the P20, and he's immediately dead. Number 4 is actually where you should be always aiming the Sentinel, and a way to maximize the amount of damage you can get with it. Realistically speaking, you are not going to hit a headshot with this thing every single time you shoot it. I can sit here and tell you, oh yeah, always aim for the head as that's the most damage, which is true, headshots do more damage, but really what you want in Apex is consistency. So, I'm going to show you guys a little hitbox thing. As you know, bullets tend to do less damage at the waist down. This is actually not true. It actually starts taking less damage at the legs. So, right here, this is past his waist. We're actually going to shoot him right here, and this will still do 70 damage. Right there, that did 70. Now, if we shoot anywhere on his legs, it'll do 63. 63 damage right there, as you saw. So, when aiming shots with the Sentinel, you should always, and I mean always, be aiming for the center chest up. So, not the waist, I'm talking center chest right here. Always be aiming there, as especially at longer ranges, bullet drop, even though the Sentinel doesn't have much, can place it just a little bit lower and hit people in the legs. So what I say is always aim right here, chest up, and you will consistently hit 70 damage. Now, as I said earlier, if somebody's very close to you, let's say 50-60 meters, and you have the iron sights, I would almost say always go for headshots there, but majority of the time, I would say stick to chest up. And finally, at number 5, we have 3 very niche character combos that I'll briefly go over that are not the most practical thing in the world and probably won't work a ton of the time, but you can certainly catch people off guard and they can be really funny at times. So, what you want for all of these is you'll obviously want your shield battery, and for the next tip, if I can run over here real quick, you'll want the 10 times digital threat. So, we will start with Revenants. We're going to take this off real quick. Now, this really only works at about, I'd say, 50 to 60 meters, as his ability can be a little dubious at times. So, what you're going to want to do to start it is you're going to want to charge up your Sentinel with your battery and aim down sights with it. It's right here. As I said earlier, you want to be aiming at the chest high. Well, for this tip, depending on how far back you are, you actually want to be aiming right about the waist. Then, if you didn't know this, you can actually hover Revenant's ability at the same time. If you aim too high up here, as I said earlier, this will actually go over their head, and you won't hit them with the ability. So, what you're going to want to do is, as soon as you shoot the shot, you're also going to want to release his L1. So right here, we're going to aim at his waist. Do that. As you can see there, that shot actually hits him as well, taking away his abilities and probably confusing the hell out of him. As I said though, this is not the most practical thing, as moving targets, the ability may miss. If they're standing still, however, and not paying much attention, you can definitely catch them off guard. And as I said though, the further you go, you may want to aim even lower down, like right there, so the ability can hit, because it actually scales just a little bit further over their head the further you go back. Our next combo here actually has to do with Bangalore and is very similar to Revenants in many ways. So, if you did not know, you can also hover Bangalore's L1 ability while aiming down sights with a sniper like this, and you can also shoot it while staying down sights, which is pretty interesting. The things that separate this combo, however, is you will be able to aim wherever you want on this target, as the smoke isn't really for damage as much for disorienting the person. So, as last time, we are going to charge up our Sentinel here, as so. This combo really works at any range, but Obviously the smoke isn't going to be able to arc as close to people. It may throw them off and keep them distracted for a minute, but at closer ranges, if you manage to get this 10 times thermal, or if you just have a gold sentinel to begin with, this can be very disorienting. So, as I said, you can hover for smoke like this, and you can aim wherever you want. So, we're going to shoot this guy, and release our smoke, and as you can see, he cannot see us. We can still see him the whole time, and we can finish him off. And finally, last but not least, we have a combo with Octane and his jump pad. Now, I'm going to say this from the start, this tip isn't necessarily for practical gameplay, but should hopefully let you achieve your lifelong dreams of being a G Fuel consuming addict and eventually joining FaZe, because you saw this tip. Don't forget about me. Anyways, as you see here, I'm not going to hold you for too long. I think you know what's going to happen. With Octane and the Sentinel, with no sight of course, what you're going to want to do is slide on it, shoot off a few shots, do that, and hit some pretty nasty trick shots, therefore putting yourself in FaZe. Anyway guys, I think that just about does it for this video. I hope you learned something, and maybe you'll start picking up the Sentinel more often. As I said earlier, the Sentinel is my favorite sniper in the game, just behind the Craver, and it has a lot of things about it that make it very special compared to the other ones. If you guys did like the video, you know, YouTuber, blah blah, sub, like, share, all that. You don't have to, but I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, as I said, we're so close to 500 subs, and it just means so much to me, you know, I don't know. Not gonna get too sentimental. This has been Combo. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and peace out, everybody.